Hi, I'm Andrew Hrubec. This is Matt Diaz, and this is the weekly Sizzle. We're going to take a look at some of the top stories this week, starting off with the importance of resigning with dignity.
Yeah, Nick's column yesterday was about resigning with dignity, and he really talked about his experiences being an employee and an employer, and talking about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. I think it's a really interesting column for right now. Obviously, there's a lot of stories about jobs. And I think people tend to take their jobs for granted sometimes. And sometimes the job just isn't for you. So I know the point of his whole thing was you got to find what's best for you and I guess keep rolling from there.
If I can add something, I think it's important for people to realize that not only are employers taking a chance on an employee, but employees are taking a chance on an employer as well. So, it's important that all parties kind of leave mutually in an agreeable fashion. Another story would be McDonald's has decided to make breakfast available 24 hours a day, if it's a location that serves 24 hours, I suppose. But it will be available all day. Matt, how's that going to impact egg prices?
Well, I know a lot of college kids are going to be eating a lot of Egg McMuffins, but I didn't really, when I first heard the story, I didn't really think about egg prices and what that's going to do, because they are obviously one of the largest businesses in the country, if not the world. So it's kind of interesting. I know Robert Maynard talked about, and he's the CEO of Famous Toastery, which is a better breakfast franchise, but he talked about people have had breakfast options all day, Denny's, IHOP, and they're not doing so well right now. He doesn't think that it's going to be a huge issue. So it's kind of interesting. Obviously, better breakfast is kind of on the rise. He mentions people looking for new options, different tastes, more sophisticated tastes, which is kind of interesting. So I guess we'll see how it works out, but definitely a bold move by McDonald's.
Okay. Another upcoming story actually hasn't necessarily broke yet, but in the coming weeks, IFA will be flying into D.C. Why don't you tell us about that, Matt?
So IFA is flying into D.C. and they're doing a fly-in with a lot of congressmen and other elected officials. And I don't know, I guess I'll revert back to last week from Nick's column, where he talked about the importance of educating elected officials and what that means for franchising. Obviously, there's been a lot of big issues with NLRB and overtime pay and minimum wage increases. And a lot of people don't know that franchising isn't just McDonald's. These issues affect smaller businesses, and it's really a big, I don't know, it's just a big change for them. I think, personally, I don't know that it's all a bad thing. If you go like on the IFA Twitter, they talk about getting involved and getting people in the franchising community together. So maybe it's not all bad. Maybe there's a silver lining of bringing the franchising community together. They even have their hashtag, it's Franchising United, which is just more community building and education, and maybe it's going to make the franchising industry even closer. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that wraps up the weekly Sizzle. Look forward to future opportunities.
Yeah.
Doing this again. Adios.